Okay, so this is going to be the first part. Deals a little bit too long before, but I did kind of miss all the statements that I had about the nihilism tree. This is the more the tankier side of the build, but it's also junction with some other abilities in the elemental tree. First off, Spirit Blade is meat and potatoes, is 400% weapon damage. Worst case scenario, 600% damage against barrier, 800% damage against guard. So you're going to be seeing some gross crits, especially if you have a decent staff. This ability right here is the reason that you're going to be getting crazy kill streaks, and an ability like heal on killed. Your weapon is going to be what makes you consider overpowered. Combat 30, you get 50% mana regeneration rate bonus. This ability combined with Originating Barrier will give you 80% mana regeneration in combat when you're in melee range of enemies. That's a big deal because man's life with the Arcane Warrior. Force of Will, 20% armor bonus. Your health is just, you don't have much, so want these passive bonuses. You don't have to do anything to get this bonus, and I think that's the best part of it. Field is what makes the Arcane Warrior happen. It's you generate 30% damage that you deal as a barrier. The more high damage, AoE, big crits that you do, the tough character is. So the more damage that you do as a character, the more you generate and tougher you are. So anybody who's put off by the idea of being a tank-like character, not doing a lot of damage, put that out your head, because this guy depends on huge amounts of damage. That's why I recommend against any abilities that don't do damage. If you're not doing damage, then you are just one step closer to death with this character. I don't recommend playing this guy as a ranger. And although the next ability is the Gathering Storm, cooldown reduction every time you use your staff attack, I use this only sparingly will I use my staff attack. Something happened where I'm just trying to get a lick in on a guy that's ranged and he's already been taken down, or I'm fighting on one side of the room and just want to hit on a guy on the other side of the room. With the build that I'm running, my mana rarely runs out, so this is kind of like a rainy day ability. Guardian Spirit. I would say this is 100% mandatory if you plan on doing any solo activity or on tanking for your group. When your health gets down to about 5%, you get 100% bear. Especially if you're in a situation where you're still leveling this guy up, or you happen to run mana, your health is going to go down fast. If you're not doing damage, you're not generating barrier, you're taking damage to your health. Like, especially if you got 4 or 5 guys on you, you're going to take damage. If your health gets low, getting 100% barrier, especially if there's no keeper unless in the group casting barrier on everybody else, save your team from wipe. This skill right here, I'd put 3 points in this if I could. It's worth more than most of these. Compose, you get a boost stats. This one, depending how good your gear is, I would say once you see people getting a lot better gear in the future, this skill may become less mandatory, but I wouldn't even say it's mandatory now. It's just it's a good chunk of stats to help your guy up there, especially when you're leveling up your first time. You don't have great gear, you don't have any plus stats on your armor, etc. This can help you kind of get over that hump. You gotta take mind over matter. You don't have a choice about it, but it makes you immune to flanking. So that's good, because if you plan on tanking, and you're doing chain link from melee distance, the guys are going to be behind you, period. I didn't take either of these abilities because one, they don't do damage, and two, this second perk here for Flying Blast, although it says it would give you barrier, it does not work. You don't get barrier. If it did damage it, you would generate some, but instead you're casting spells. Then you cast this, you're surrounded by fighters thinking you're going to get 50 barrier, and you don't get anything. You get a push effect, and you lose some mana, and you're one step to death. Skip this. Not that guy. I would only take these if you're creating a kind of alternate build, and even then, I would only take one. You know, I'd probably take Dispel, even though, you know, very situational. You do have a second where you can generate some barrier and detonate some combos, but why use this as a detonator when you can use an ability that does damage as a detonator that will generate you barrier right there? Probably more. Strength of Spirits, increase your barrier bonus by 50. Have to take this. You have to come this low in the tree. And here I also took 5% chance to activate phase. Why did I take this and I didn't take Psychic Backlash? 5% chance to stun. Psychic Backlash, I have to watch for the stun to proc. That's 1 out of every 20. I could be surrounded by 5 guys and get attacked 4 times each, which would suck if I hadn't killed them by that point. And for that one time this procs off, I gotta be looking, you know, for it to proc off. I make sure I do the right attack to activate it. Or I can just be casting nothing but damage spells in the first place and 5% chance not to take damage. This is almost like constant armor if you average it out. If it works. I don't even know if it works actually. Like some of these skills, it's hard to measure. Because it doesn't tell you it happens. So that's it for this tree. Unless you're gonna make some alternative build where you are not an aggressive tank-like character, you don't want to take the production here. Also, the reason I don't take Flash Fire is because it costs 60 mana and only does 300% damage to a single target. And in my opinion, even with the Fear Duration bonus and Fear damage bonus, it's not worth the waste of your mana, and it can totally screw up a rotation that could otherwise be a beautiful thing and leave you standing around trying to swing Spear Blade because you just spent every single mana that you have, you know, catching this and Chain Lightning, and then you only hit 4 guys, you know, with Chain Lightning, hit 1 guy with this. It doesn't even hit him that hard, only 400 damage. You got an ability that you can spam instantly that does 400% weapon damage, while taking an ability that takes 300 damage and it does do AoE effects. Don't it. Conductive Current could be good, but Flash Fire is so bad and it's so deep in the tree that this really needs to be a lighter to justify you take. Reason I don't take this one is I believe that there's a loading point in this build, and it comes from right here, Fending Blade. This one is so dependent on you either being the host or having timing that you're immediately compensating for lag, or you're basically just standing there with Spirit Blade hoping that you're reflecting something. It's situational. It's not a constant bonus. And I've even heard of bugs where people like reflecting themselves, hurting themselves. Arcane Warrior doesn't that much help. For me, sometimes it's nice. I'm in a mob, I'm slap up 5 guys, and see the shockwaves come out. Like, okay, archers are into this mob. I have aggro of everybody in the room. It's good for the rest of the group. I see Spell Sword as generally similar effect. You know, with the shockwave that you send back that can hurt people. I don't know how much damage shockwave does, but 30% of that back into your barrier. Or you can have really situational 10% armorness while you're swinging your blade. Neither one are really constant. Neither one, I would like an effect you want to go for. They're like latent effects. So on the other side of the tree, if you watch part 2 of the video, you'll see where I make some recommendations for where you can put this skill point. So thanks for watching, and please watch the Warrior Build part 2 video. Thanks.